Today on Us Weekly's Reality Recap, we're breaking down the tumultuous part 2 of the Vanderpump reunion, plus the most shocking moments from the Summer House reunion, part 1. Then Lisa Vanderpump explains why she defended Tom Sandoval at the reunion.
Well, maybe I did, but everybody else was chastising him. I didn't feel like joining the pack.
We've got that plus so much more on today's Us Weekly Reality Recap. Hey guys, Christina Garbaldi here with Us Weekly executive producer Mandy DeCamp, and these reunions are blowing my mind.
They truly are. Like, it's so good. I know it's bad to watch a train wreck, but it's so good.
Keep it coming. Oh my God. We're going to dive into it all in just a second. But first, we'll see what you guys have to say about last week's show. Derick said, VPR producer said the big revelation, which she is surprised hasn't come out yet, has to be crazy enough that some people may not want to return. I don't know what it could be, because even if Rachel was pregnant, I don't think that would stop the cast from coming back. This has been keeping me up at night. Yes. What could it be? I mean, everybody in the comments, please let us know your theories, because I've been trying to rack my brain about what would make people not want to come back.
Usually there's like a fan theory that solves it, that everyone's like, that's what it must be. But all we've gotten is that she might be pregnant, but she's not. So
right.
I don't know. I don't have a good theory for this.
I don't either. And, a lot of people were saying that Lisa Vanderpump knew for, a long time prior to this. That's not true. She debunked those rumors.
Yeah.
I don't know. The only thing I could think of is that the Brock Davies hookup rumor was true. That's the only thing that like would make Chyna not want to come back. But maybe not. I don't know. I don't know.
You barely even mentioned Brock this whole reunion now that you say it.
Right. I'm like, could that be it? I don't know.
Wow. Okay. I'm losing sleep till now.
I don't know.
All right. Well, Rocky Sullivan said, LVP constantly behaving like Sandoval's lawyer practically ruined part 1 of the reunion.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were not happy with LVP kind of stepping in and sticking up for Tom a bit, but I guess she was trying to make it so that people can have somewhat of a conversation and not just a full-on attack.
Right.
But it came off that she was defending him a bit.
Definitely. We talked to her, so we'll get to that a little later on in the show and see what she had to say for herself.
Yes. All right. And Heather says, James knew Lisa from way long ago, and Lisa knew his dad. None of Kristen's other BFs had a full-time part on the show. If someone actually gets on the show, it's because they've got the grit and personality to make themselves interesting. Interesting comment, since last night Lisa said the only reason you got on the show is because you slept with Kristen.
Yeah. I mean, I think James even said it himself pretty much.
Yeah.
It's become kind of a joke, but yeah, of course he also knew of the group because of his dad and whatnot. But yeah. It helped. It certainly helped. But also, I mean, he was saying last night in the reunion, like, he was like, you should be thanking me, Lisa.
Seriously.
No, I mean, he is pretty good on the show.
Yes. No, totally.
All right. Well, Christina wrote in and said, regardless of whether Lisa is in business with the two Toms, I hardly think the 1% they own makes a difference. What is destructive to all her businesses is the immortality of her defending a disgusting, narcissistic, cheating person, which Tom indeed is. She went on to say she risks this will be interpreted by many as she doesn't think Tom is such a bad person. His actions are not that bad, which leads to her morals being questionable, which indeed can be negative financially for her. She must either have bad advisors or she won't listen. What a hot take on Lisa.
What a hot take. Yeah. Tom is never going Tom is never going to crawl his way out of this hole. Let's just be honest. Like, people have forever are just going to, say that he is a narcissistic asshole, which I mean, he kind of is.
I mean, I can't wait to recap this reunion. Got a lot more opinions on him after this week.
Totally. All right, let's get into the news. There was, of course, a lot of Vanderpump news going about before the reunion, and a Vanderpump fan was actually kicked out of Tom Sandoval's concert for expressing her support for Ariana. In this video that was obtained by Page Six, an unidentified woman could be seen holding up a sign that said Team Ariana while Tom performed with his band. She even flipped him off. He remained unfazed by this. Security then came into the crowd to remove the concert goer. And this came after Andy Cohen actually called out Vanderpump fans for acting out of control in the wake of his affair. He told the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast, Tom Sandoval made a mistake he'll probably regret for the rest of his life. He's still a person. He added that he hopes the fan hate will die down for his sake, saying he's a real person. He did something really stupid and hurtful and asinine, but he didn't kill anyone. He didn't commit a crime. Andy also said on that podcast that he is Team Sandoval in the meaning that he hopes Sandoval comes back next season.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I also hope that Tom Sandoval comes back next season for our entertainment purposes. I do agree with Andy that he did not murder someone. He did not commit a crime. Totally agree. It's hard to watch his behavior in the reunion, though, because I'm just going to get into that part now, because I feel like he should have taken a back seat more. Yeah. And he very much was attacking other cast members for random things. And they kept, James kept going back to him and saying like, oh, but you cheated on Ariana, and he kept saying like, oh, that's everyone's get out of jail free card, this reunion. But it kind of is. Yeah. And you kind of just need to sit back and shut up. Like, yeah, you need to sit back and take it. Like the being on defense mode wasn't the best approach to this. Yes. You have to remember this was like right after everything happened, just a couple weeks. Yeah. Emotions were really high, and he should have understood that people were really in an emotional raw state. And this was, they were still processing all these emotions. Maybe if they filmed it now, it would be completely different. Mm-hmm. But, you can't be on the defense when you made such a epic fail in your life and the lives around you. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. I agree. We don't need to, tar and feather him or whatever, but we don't, but also be more apologetic. Yes. Which I feel like we will see based on, this little snippets that we've seen about next week's reunion. It seems like he does kind of break down and get emotional, but maybe that was just because he was tired from the end of the day. I don't know. And it's all just catching up to him. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Yeah. All right. Well, getting into Jax Taylor again, he is just not shutting up. No. He weighed in on Lisa Vanderpump's support of Tom Sandoval during the reunion, which we were just talking about. He revealed on an episode of his and Brittany's podcast, When Reality Hits, this is what annoyed me the most. I can say this because I don't care. Lisa annoyed me. I understand she has to be somewhat neutral about this. The former reality star, who, of course, exited the Bravo series in December 2020, claimed that Vanderpump is not around for 99.9% of that show. And she just taps in when she wants to, which is mainly the reunion. Which, I mean, yeah, I get that. Yeah. It's part of the everyday story. No. So anyway, while watching part 1 of the season 10 reunion, Taylor confessed he was unnerved by his former boss seemingly backing Sandoval after he cheated on Ariana. He said, I just felt that she's siding with Tom. She was kind of trying to be devil's advocate a little bit. I just feel like she was siding with Tom, and it really annoyed me because she never did that with me. When I was on the show, she was against me like crazy, which that is true. It's true. It's true. Yeah. Chyna Shea was on the podcast with him, and she said, you were just a cast member, not saying it's okay. I think that's the difference. Meaning, the fact that she's a co-owner of Tom, right, and a business partner. Taylor added that Vanderpump kind of treats us like little kids sometimes. We're grown adults. She barely is on the show, and it just irks me sometimes. I mean, in her defense, they were kids when they joined the show. Right. But now we're seeing them defend themselves against Lisa. Like, they're not, like, Lala didn't take her this reunion. Neither did James. He kind of clapped back. Oh, yeah. They're not kids anymore. They're, in their 30s, 40s, and, they're not going to kind of take what she's given out. And I think that sometimes they did put her in her place this reunion, and they kind of stood up for themselves. So yes, but I do agree with Jax. Like, Lisa never stood up for him, but maybe it does have something to do with her being in business with him. I don't know. But like the commenter said, they only own like 5% of this business. It's very small amount. So it really, like, Lisa could buy them out tomorrow and it wouldn't even affect her bank account, I'm sure. It wouldn't, but the name of the restaurant is Tom Tom. Sure. No, you're right. So, like, while they're not benefiting that much from it, she's going to lose 95% of it. True. Yeah. So, and it's their name.
That is true. But then that name might be, doesn't hold as much weight as it used to.
No, maybe change the name.
Right. I know. Maybe
Change
just
it to Ariana.
Yeah, to Team Ariana. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Chyna Shea reflected on the signs from her wedding weekend now that clearly point that Raquel and Tom were, possibly hooking up during her wedding weekend. She was on that same podcast with Brittany and Jackson. She said Raquel was supposed to share a room with our mutual friend Jenny Ting at the wedding. She tells Jenny King, "You can't stay in my room. After all, production won't let you." They couldn't hook up in Tom and Ariana's room. They needed a private room. So Raquel was adamant about not letting anyone into her hotel room. She said, because Jenny was like, "I'll get out of the room. I'll clean up my stuff and I'll keep it in the closet. I'll leave the room so it just looks like you're staying there by yourself." Raquel said, "No, sorry, you can't stay because production said." I guarantee Sandoval coached her to be like, "Just blame it on production. Tell Jenny it is production." Well, and then I think that she said even like some people may have seen Raquel and Tom like kissing, but they thought it was Schwartz. Like they were just like so blatantly obvious about this. It's crazy to me that this did not come out earlier.
It's crazy it didn't come out earlier. And then also like she was saying on the reunion last night, how everyone was acting like they're pathological liars. I'm like, yeah, everything that's coming out is a lie. Like
right.
You told
everything. You're like, the only thing we lied about was the affair. Like what? Yeah,
but that like covers 1,000 other lies that came with it.
I can't. All right, let's get it. Let's break this down. You see Lala get really emotional about everything that happened with her and Randall last summer. She was saying she was in such an emotional state. The life that she thought she had kind of got pulled out from under her.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, it's sad because they have a daughter together.
Yeah.
And that they're not communicating at all. Not that I blame her. I don't think she should communicate with him if that's, what she, has dealt with. But it's just sad that their little girl is going to see all this.
Yeah.
Like before she can even talk, she has all this stuff out there about her parents. It's just, it's sad.
It is. It's really, really sad. And who knows what will happen in the future to Randall too, because based on these LA Times articles and things like that, it seems like he might have a lot of legal fights in his future too.
Yeah. I have not watched the documentary yet on him.
I haven't either. It'll be on my viewing list for the summer.
Yeah.
And then, we had some break in filming and Tom went into Raquel's trailer. And this was such a cringy conversation, Raquel saying that her entire character is in question. And, Raquel like kind of getting upset with Tom being like, "You kind of told me that you and Ariana were not in a good place. And here I find out that you guys are like having sex all the time and having a good relationship." Like, what do you think was happening? He was he was playing you both.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty gross. I mean,
it's disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm glad that she called him out for it, but also like none of it made it okay.
No, and he also had no response to it either. Yeah. He was just like, okay, like, oh my God, he's so gross. Yeah. And the pathological liar comment, it was just crazy. And then him just having this full on meltdown because he probably wanted to coach Raquel into what he wanted her to say when she comes out for the reunion, because really they just didn't need a break to smoke their cigarettes. He wanted to coach her probably. Yeah,
he wanted to get their stories in line, as she said in quotes. I mean, that producer deserves a raise.
Oh, yes.
Allowing the cameras to walk away. Yeah, he does not deserve that. You had all this time before the reunion, you could have chatted with her. Why now do you have to do it? Sorry, cameras are up.
Yeah. And it was, I think Lala said like in one of her Instagram stories, it was interesting that producers let her watch the show back in real time because it gave her a time to kind of process her reactions and maybe what she wanted to say. I wonder how different it would be, come next week if she didn't get that opportunity, because I'm sure they just go in on her. Can't wait.
I know.
But you said before he's Sandoval trying to kind of interject himself in other people's storylines this season, especially with James kind of calling him out for his drinking, telling these DJ stories that he was always wasted. And people are like, well, you hooked up with your girlfriend's best friend. So
like, yes,
you can't say anything.
Everyone's get out of jail free card and they deserve it because that story was just kind of weird and like, why bring it up?
Yeah.
I mean, clearly James does have, some issues when it comes to drinking that he may or may not deal with ever. But the story just seemed like, okay.
Yeah. Right. Don't care. Let's go back to talking about Sandoval.
Yeah.
It is interesting in this whole thing. I mean, I'm sure Schwartz is probably very happy because I feel like he is getting off so easy in this entire, maybe next episode he won't, but I feel like he's really gotten off the hook this season because of everything that happened between the two of them. Because I feel like Kody and him really haven't, discussed any of their issues yet. And it doesn't look like it probably will happen because next week's going to be all about Raquel. But I feel like he got the get out of jail free card, I think.
He sure did. You're so right. And he's just popping Xanax over there. Like,
oh my God, that was... He's like, I'm nervous. I mean, I was nervous. I was like, can I grab one of those through the TV? I need something.
They all passed it around.
Right. And then Sandoval, the only thing that really tripped him up was him having to say what he felt Chyna did that night with Raquel, which was interesting. It took him a while to form his thoughts. And he said that Chyna punched him.
Yeah.
Punched her.
Sure. Yeah. I was also like, hey, Sandoval, shut your mouth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Why?
Right.
I understand needing to defend yourself to a certain extent if false things are being said and stuff. But if you want there is no hope, I guess, for friendship with Chyna, but just shut up. What is the point? Why make anyone feel worse? Right.
Well, Chyna said on her podcast that I guess she did reach out to Sandoval because I guess their mutual friend had passed away. And she reached out to him to, send her condolences, see how he was doing. He never responded. And I guess she sent 2 messages. One was delivered and one never was. And she was like, did he either turn off his phone? I'm like, I wonder if he blocked her, I mean, they have been talking about this since it happened and kind of fueling the fire. So I don't know, maybe he's just kind of cutting ties with everybody, which is probably for the best. But the Chyna breakdown of it all, you felt really bad for her because you see how much, she's an emotional person to begin with. Yeah. But this really took a toll on her with Raquel filing the restraining order, trying to do dropping the temporary restraining order, which was so weird. Yeah. And, what blew my mind is that Sheena's sitting there crying, Lala's crying, everybody's emotional. And Raquel in the trailer has this stupid smirk on her face, showing zero emotion. You don't care about these people at all.
I'm starting to think she just nervously smiles.
Maybe.
Because I'm at the point
I would hope so at this point.
It's like people who smile when they get sad news or something.
Yes.
They don't know how to handle it.
Right.
Or she's just a sociopath.
I just can't believe she showed zero emotion. You don't I hope it's a nervous smile because there's really no defending that. No being oh, I feel bad for her. I can't believe she felt that way. I'm so sorry I made her feel that way. Nothing. It's crazy to me.
It was so weird when she was just oh, I guess I should have sent her a note.
Oh my God.
That would have been good to do.
Yeah, maybe you should have sent her a postcard like you did with your lightning bolts, like you did to it's crazy to me. It's so crazy to me that this happened. And then when she came out, I loved when they were going to try to sit Raquel in between Tom, and Ariana's absolutely not. She is not sitting there.
I was so happy about that. I mean,
I was too.
Yeah. Guess what I kept thinking about this reunion is it's all everyone versus them, right? Which is how it should be. And it's all become kind of a crazy news story in the press. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, you have to think that Ariana's going home to their house.
Yeah.
Her broken relationship of 10 years. Yeah. So when they showed that moment, it kind of just reminded me that this is very real and very raw for her. And it's, it is don't sit them next to each other.
No, I couldn't imagine. There's my boyfriend of 10 years sitting there, and then you're going to put him next to his mistress right now. I don't need to see it. No. It's enough for me to deal with. I don't need it in my face. And I'm glad that she kind of, she spoke up in that moment because, she has handled this beautifully, and you see her kind of break down in the teaser for next week. But you have to remember, this is really, really difficult. She's losing her best friend. She's losing her boyfriend in the worst possible way. And, despite, I'm sure, all the great things that have happened to her since then, it's still really hard.
Really hard. And I think we'll see more of that next week.
Yeah. And then Raquel with her conversation with Andy, replaying the first conversation she had with Ariana, telling her what happened, being like, I didn't think Ariana wanted to know if we were hooking up. And now that I realized that she did, I feel bad. Like, what?
Just what?
What does it
And
mean?
then admitting that they were going to lie about when it started.
Yes. And we had to like you said, get our story straight. Like,
Yeah.
what? And did you really think that Ariana was going to be like, great? Why don't you move into my house? I'll move out. Just take my place.
Yeah. Like, what did you think she was going to think?
I don't. Oh my God. But the next, why do we have to wait a week? I can't wait. I can't wait to see what this bombshell is because nobody knows. Andy doesn't know. The only person that knows is the producer, the editor, and probably the executive producer of the show because I don't know. I have no idea what this could be.
No, me neither.
Oh God. All right. Well, Summer House reunion also happened and it was probably the best episode of the season.
Yeah.
What are you? Are you team Paige or are you team Lindsay in all this?
Paige.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much hands down in this one. I just, we've watched the show for a long time. I've said it before. Lindsay worked in PR before she did the show. Her whole thing was media. She knows how the media works. I do think there might be some truth to what Paige is saying. I also don't think Paige would lie about it, like planning stories and things like that. I don't think Paige would lie unless it was like, I think it's real.
Yeah, I think so too. And, a lot of people were like, oh, why, her and Lindsay were on good terms at the beginning of the season. Why is she interjecting herself in all this drama if it really didn't involve her? But I guess, yeah, like you said, she probably saw a lot of things behind the scenes that she's not happy with. And I guess it's just years of kind of built up rage. And it's just all coming out now. And, she says that they're fake. And I think a lot of people think that as well. And I mean, she made a good point. She's like, who on this couch besides the 3 new people do you even talk to? And she really hasn't made friends in the 7+ years that she's been there.
Yeah, that says a lot.
Yeah.
It also was interesting how Paige said that, or how Carl, I think, said that Craig is the biggest liar on Bravo. I needed more info on that. I'm like, Andy, dig into that. Like, what? Right. What do you mean he's the biggest liar on Bravo? What is that about?
And what was his behavior like at Kyle and Amanda's wedding that got him kicked out? Like, what's going on here?
I need to know more about
that. I
hope they talk more about it on the next reunion. But I feel like that it was kind of just put to bed. Like, I feel like that was it.
Yeah. So do you think that Lindsay threw a shoe at production?
Again, I just feel like there's got to be some truth to it. I think that's a weird thing to just make up. But she did deny it in a comment on a fan page. So what do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure maybe, I mean, like you said, it's a weird thing to make up. Like it's so specific. So I don't know. But it was kind of strange that the whole cheating rumor about Kyle that came up from 3 years ago. It just seemed like a lot of past drama was brought up in all of this. And I don't know. I feel like Kyle and Carl may move forward. Paige and Lindsay, definitely not. But we'll have to see what happens between Danielle and Lindsay next week.
Yeah. And then what happens with Amanda then? Like if Kyle and Carl are okay, but Amanda and Paige are best friends, that's going to be... I still don't, we still have no idea, filming will probably resume next month with Summer House, but what does this show even look like now? It's very strange. I don't know. And then the whole Gabby versus Sierra thing, I feel bad for Gabby in this situation. It's like Sierra just did not give her a chance at all. No, she didn't. I mean, I always feel like there's too many people on this cast.
Way too many people on this cast.
Because they're not real friends, obviously. Yep. And I just feel like maybe cut it down a little bit, like 5 of them and their boyfriends, friends or hookups or whatever.
I agree. Lindsay defending her dress that she didn't know that she was going to get engaged. Still think she does, but
yeah, I still think she knew, but
I do too. But it was overall, it was a good first part of the reunion. And I feel like some things were discussed that we wanted it to be discussed, some new things that we didn't know about. So I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Well, we recently caught up with Lisa Vanderpump herself, who explained why she defended Sandoval at the big reunion. Take a look.
Ariana felt like you were a little bit easy. You took it a little easy on Sandoval when you heard about everything. What was she said that on Watch What Happens Live? But what would be your reaction to
Well, maybe I did, but everybody else was chastising him. I didn't feel like joining the pack. I mean, it seemed so kind of slanted. Everything was against him, and I've known him for a long time. Of course, I'm condemning what he did. That's why I said you're not a bad person. You just did a bad thing. And my heart was always with Ariana, of course. Yes, maybe I didn't kind of, scream at him and lambast him, but everybody else had done that. And to me, the man that was sitting in my living room, it felt like a broken man. So I just didn't want to pile on, to be honest. But yes, have I had conversations and held him accountable? Yes. I felt the same way, absolutely, that everybody else did. But at some point, they're like my children in some way. They've grown up with me, these people. What would you do to your child? I mean, you might scream at him for a second, and I did that, before. But when I saw him, then you've got to try to at least move forward or look for the path forward, even though it's too early to move forward. Look for the path forward. But of course, we were all very upset. We felt duped. We were disgusted. We were hurt, Ariana, all of those things.
What was that moment like for you when he had that breakdown in your living room?
It was actually worse than we saw. And I think Vanderpump Rules is really good at that when it comes to producing the show and everything. It was enough what we saw. Was it worse than that? Yes. And that scares me when somebody's just so depressed, But I think it was a moment that it all kind of came to a head there with me. And he knew that, he'd lost so much from this whole choice that he'd made.
And I was going to ask, when was the last time you saw Sandoval, and what was that like for you?
Oh, I saw him just a few days ago. Well, when there are other people around, there's nothing more to say that hasn't been said. We had 12 hours at reunion where a lot of stuff came out, and it was hard.
And your birthday episode was one of the biggest fights of the season. How was it like for you in that moment when you give that really touching speech after to the whole crew?
Well, I always, every season, think, it's not coming back again. It's been 10 years. I'm always there for you. I hope that, you'll have the tools to kind of move forward your life. And then sure enough, this group never, ever failed to kind of surprise me. It just, because they live the life off camera as well as on camera. It's not orchestrated. They move together. They have babies together. They go on vacation together. It's like a revolving door. It just keeps going.
And then last question, do you think Sandoval and Raquel are going to date when she's done with treatment and he gets back from touring?
That's an unknown quantity because I didn't think they'd be together in the first place, so who knew?
Oh, Lisa.
I get it. She's like the mama bear to this cast.
Yeah.
I get it, sort of.
Yeah, I totally get it. All right, time for our social spotlight of the week. I'm going to keep it Vanderpump because mine goes to Lala Kent because she went off on Tom Sandoval. We didn't even talk about this, about the IUD comment, so take a look.
Yeah.
Tonight is the second time that I have seen Sandoval diminish the conception of my beautiful, magical daughter. I'm disgusted. Makes me sit here and question who the f*** raised you. And how they must be sitting there going, do we really gotta claim this f***ing guy? Really? I am so glad that I did not hear that at the reunion. Because I'm telling you what, these mama bear paws would have mauled the f*** out of him. Sandoval, you better watch your f***ing tongue. When you talk about me, you keep my daughter out of your mouth. That's where I f***ing draw the line. You can come for me all day long. You leave her out of this. That baby was brought into this world out of love, respect, and my relationship may have gone to shit, but that little girl is the best thing that ever f***ing happened to me. How dare you?
Yeah, my jaw was kind of on the floor when he said you only took out your IUD because Stassi got pregnant. Like, what?
Yeah. That's insane. I need more info immediately.
Right. And she's like, how dare you? I mean, we saw how dare you say something like that? And I wish she heard it at the reunion, because she would have just chewed him up and spit him out.
Yeah.
What about you?
All right. Mine goes to Shep Rose from Southern Charm. For one, I'd like to know when Southern Charm is coming back. I was
thinking about that this morning. I'm like, we need a Southern Charm trailer right about now.
Yeah. But he's living his best life in Mykonos, and I'm hoping that they're recording it for something. I don't know. I don't think they are. But he's with Whitney, with Austin. And they're just like eating the best food. They're on boats every day. He's been there for weeks, it seems like, according to Instagram. And I want to live his life.
I'm looking through all these photos now, and I really want to live this life. It looks amazing. And I guess, with all those Taylor Austin hookup rumors, I guess it's not affecting their friendship. So
I guess not.
On a boat in Mykonos together. All right. Well, that is it for this week's episode of Reality Recap. Let us know in the comments your theories. What is the big reveal for next week's Vanderpump? And we will be recapping it next week. All right. See you guys later.
Bye.
For more news, content, and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.